Good morning, guys. We're going to start in about 2 minutes. Melody was so happy. I'm thankful she could come up. Thank you for coming my way.
Oh, you're
I told her I had to
welcome.
get Morgan Pier Place.
A lot of traffic this morning.
Yes, I was going to ask you if the ride was smooth or.
I left at 7.
Oh, bless your heart. Okay. So she started yesterday.
I started out yesterday, and it was a lot of traffic here in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know. And
it's worth it.
Well, I just thank you again. Melody was kind enough to sit in on the late round at the Bluebird benefit this year, and love to hear her again. I heard her several years back, and then we lost touch, and so Les Kerr had invited her to his late round, and I got to hear her again, and I was just really touched, very thankful to have you.
Thank you.
And she agreed to come up today. She is a busy lady, so it is okay. We got 1 minute. I don't want to jump the gun, but anyway, I'll start at 9:30. Being on the spectrum is
right. I know.
1 more minute, guys.
Right.
1 more minute. So if you do have any questions, thank you guys for hanging. If you've got any questions for Melody, I'll make sure that I get them to her. Like I said,
you've got glasses, right? You can actually see.
Yeah, I can actually see it. So the thing is, I'm a little technically challenged myself, so I'll try to remember to scroll up and things. But that we do have, as far as audience, it's a lot of families that I know, moms that have young adults with disabilities, and then the greater community, like I said, folks that follow Morgan. She is the star. I'm just mom. So this is just a visit with mom. Once in a while, I get to say hello.
You brought her to the party.
There you go. And speaking of the party, it's 9:30, so we're going to get started. Everybody, this is Melody Guy. She was kind enough to join us today. As I said just a minute ago when we were warming up, she came out last Tuesday to the Bluebird benefit for autism and sang on Les Kerr's round. Joined us for a song, and it was just so good to hear her again. Melody is on the spectrum herself and has a son that's on the spectrum. She also has a daughter, and she keeps the roads hot. She is on her 10th album right now. She is a singer-songwriter, had quite a bit of success, and how do you keep going all the time?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's pretty crazy. But I have this. It's the one thing, just like in the Asperger's world or ASD world. You get focused on that one thing, and I am focused on that one thing.
Okay.
And
that's what keeps you moving forward and staying.
Yeah. Playing music for people, being able to share what I've felt in my life, because I know other people have felt the same way.
Right.
And that's just my passion. And it's hard to be an adult in the spectrum, and people don't realize that. A lot of people go, "Oh wow, you're doing so great." They don't see the in between and the hours where I'm like, what do I do? What am I supposed to do? And the lost hours of trying to put the pieces together.
How do you do with a schedule? And how do you keep yourself on track? What helps you? What hurts you?
Having any time off hurts me.
Okay.
It
better
becomes,
to be busy?
It's better to be busy, and I honestly have been kept alive over these last years by my friends on Facebook who see that I'm coming through a town, and they book a house concert, or they say, "Hey, come play here, or this festival or that festival." I don't enter contests. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, why don't you enter the Kerrville?" And like, well, that requires me to do paperwork.
It's like, nope.
It may seem like, easy for some people, right? But
we'll keep it on you.
It's not. It's not easy for me.
I'm going to tag. What said you want to tag me? But I've got mine going, so I don't know if we should or not. I get lost in all that. So I'll just
we can tag later.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Yeah.
So just throw you a curve. But so I see what you're saying. Just keeping that. You've got friends along the way.
There are angels everywhere, and I think that they are, from what I understand, they're inspired by me not giving up. and which every day I think about it. I think about.
Hey, it's hard. I don't care.
It is.
It is. The music business is hard.
And being in the spectrum, you're also very gullible because you're like, oh, finally, somebody gets it, and oh yeah, I believe you. And I have in the past believed people too quickly, and because they're so convincing.
That's their job.
They have eyeballs and a smile.
That's right.
You know, and you think like they're saying words, and you should be able to believe them because I'm very literal.
Right.
And when somebody says, you know, I've got your back, or you know, I'm not going to leave you behind, or you know, that you have a publishing deal, you move to Nashville.
You're honest, and you're expecting them to be honest.
Exactly.
And it doesn't happen that way.
And I don't understand teasing.
Right.
I don't understand people that make videos where people are getting hurt. Yeah. You know, I don't understand the humor in any of
making fun of someone
in deception.
Else. Yeah, in deception. Yeah, I actually did an episode on bullying a few weeks back, and just how hard it is. You know,
I was bullied when I was a kid, and I took a lot of. My name was Melody Guy. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
See, and I wouldn't even have went there. I wouldn't have thought that. But yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so I got so many jokes, and then seeing my son and my older son being teased, but Robert. So Robert had seen the glass window door at in the performing arts thing, and he just banged his head against it, and it shattered. And then the vice principal, Mr. S'more, told my daughter, "Too bad your brother's so retarded."
See, and that's when you've got people who are supposed to be
and
teachers,
that's the
really
vice principal of the school. And then we had the special ed meeting, and they said there were 7 educators and the big stack of IEP stuff, right? And they said, "Are we going to medicate Robert this year? He's just a different kind of duck. We don't know what to do with him." And I...
And how old was he then?
He was 11 years old.
Okay.
Red hair, freckles, glasses.
And now he's 26.
Cute. He's 26.
Okay.
And but I told my son to leave the room, and Robert, after the meeting, he had tears rolling down his face, and he says, "I feel like a statue of dirt, totally devalued as a human being."
So he had the words to tell you.
He had the words, but. Like he would run to school with his eyes closed, like he was in a video game, you know. And the principal, she's like, "That is the strangest thing I've ever seen." I'm like, well, that's sad because you really haven't been living, have you? But
well, and like I said, it comes from a lack of training, a lack of understanding, and
right.
Now things are better, and there is a lot more information out there for people, thankfully.
And we didn't get the proper diagnosis either, because when Robert was young, they said, "Oh, it's ADD. Oh, it's something else. Oh, it's something else," and then
they jumped from one thing to
yeah,
another.
because they didn't know what to call it back then, and. Although some people did get diagnosed back then because they had the proper doctors, but we missed out on you have to be diagnosed before 16.
Okay.
And then, well, what if you're not diagnosed before, you know?
Okay.
So
That's right.
We are in the 3rd round of 18-month wait for disability for Robert.
Because of the misdiagnosis and not being able to get it.
And he also has had chronic kidney stones and low thyroid and
you know, I see
sleep apnea.
a lot of our guys wind up kidney stone stuff just being sedentary, not moving around enough, not diet and everything. But that is one of the things that I see. And I took you probably so far off track, but I do want to hear the song that you wrote. I want her to do this for kind of based on that experience. Okay. I'm going to back away so it can be all.
So I can do
on
scissor
this
kicks.
Melody, right? Exactly. So if you need to dance as well, okay. But I'm gonna try to really enjoy this.
I wrote this with Tom Kimmel after the story,
right?
And I brought him the title, and we both cried. And I told him the whole story. This kid used to kick Robert down the hall. His name was Aaron, and
so what's the name? But his initials are Aaron,
right?
Yeah.
He's like, "You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you," and said the R word. I can feel colors and make things with my hands. I can hear music when no one else can. And I could tell stories you would not believe if only somebody could listen to me. So what are my chances of turning out right? And what kind of man will I be if I never fit in this world as I am? What do they do with mistakes like me? They call me crazy, they call me slow. I hear their whispers wherever I go. I know I'm not like anybody they've seen, so they call me special. That's not what they mean. So what are my chances of turning out right? And what kind of man will I be if I never fit in this world as I am? What do they do with mistakes like me? Sorry. I need some water.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let me
It's
get
the
you water.
allergies out
Okay,
here.
yeah.
Yay!
Yay.
Good job, Melody.
You want ice or no?
No, I'm good.
Bless you.
I forgot to take my Claritin today.
But that song also breaks
Thank
me up
you.
too. So
Oh,
I'm
it makes
like,
me
oh.
emotional, and then my throat
As
is
you're
like,
singing it, it's
oh.
like,
But if I stand up, I can handle it better.
Yeah, oh, I know what you mean. And I just, but that, I had heard that song, so obviously I was very moved by that back when you did it before. As a mother, I'm like, oh, not my job, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And obviously God does not make mistakes.
They don't, and that's how our the educational people, experts, were treating us.
Yeah.
Like mistakes. And people hear the song and they obviously don't listen to the lyrics when they say, well, your son's not a mistake. I'm like, well, that's right, he isn't.
Right.
He isn't, because
But it's how he was made to feel.
Exactly, because people have this lack of understanding for people that are different. I mean, if you're a soccer playing, turning your homework kind of kid, and you know, everything's fine, but I got through the 8th grade, sort of. There's no paperwork on it.
So you think you did.
I went through part of the 8th grade because I had social anxiety, and I would faint a lot. And then Robert had said, he described it very well. He's like, when people are, and when I'm at school and people are yelling at me to do this, do that, it's like I'm in a white room with white floor and white everything, and it's just vibrating.
Too bright. Just
yeah.
very bright.
And it's, you know, and I totally get it. And yeah, so I grew up in a very concussive house.
Okay.
Where people were, my dad drank.
Your story. Okay.
My dad drank a lot, and so the anger between him and my mom, and then the way he'd explode on the family was damaging, to where I had PTSD when I was 5.
Well, and trying to navigate that without being on the spectrum, it would cause PTSD. Anyway, but to have that as well, and to come. I mean, you've come so far.
I have.
And where you were compared to now, what do you attribute it to? What gets you through?
Well, there's been a lot of circumstances where I really had to fight for my survival, and for some reason I have this thing inside of me that I don't want to die, although I've felt suicidal before. I don't want to die, and I want to survive, and I want to do better than they said I could do.
Tenaciousness.
Exactly. It's like,
okay.
screw those guys. I am going to succeed.
Okay,
I'm going to live my dream. I've always wanted to be a singer. And I think that I kind of have this I'm going to show you kind of attitude.
If they say you can't, you will.
Yes. Yes. Even though I'm honestly a very shy person. But I also understand that other people are shy as well. So when I'm in the entertainment thing, like right now, I have my guitar. We're talking about music stuff
this
too.
Is your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
This is what you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I'm in front of people, I want to connect with everybody and make them not feel bad about being here.
Right.
Because like I do.
So a lot of your lyrics have come from that heart.
Yeah.
You just write really deep in that. And your latest album, the Rivers,
Dry the Rivers.
I want to hear that one, but I want you to play what you want to play. What is something you would like to play for us? Now, y'all, just so we don't forget, as I'm jawing here and while I'm speaking with Melody, you can look her up, melodyguy.com. To find more of her music and tour and where all she's at. But I'm going to let her play something for you because I want you to just hear a little more of what she does. She's just got just a real rootsy. I love your writing and your performance. So
thank you.
So I'm going to hush and let
I'll
you
try to do something that's not too challenging because I forgot to take the Claritin. So sorry. This one I just wrote.
Okay.
And it started out with the first line. I can't sleep.
That's a good start.
I can't sleep, nothing new. Ever since I can't wrap my arms around you. Fears rattling around in my mind. Feels like I'm dying down deep inside. How much longer can I take? Without you here, there's no escape. The pain this distance makes. Need you back in my arms today. Oh, need you back in my arms today. All my patience is wearing thin. 'Cause I know you know you're worth your weight in sin. My hunger grows, my heart is bound. See my love, now please don't let me down. How much longer can I take? Without you here, there's no escape. And the pain this distance makes. Need you back in my arms today. Oh, need you back in my arms today. Oh, need you back in my arms
All right. Oh, I love it. Well, I'm enjoying the free concert, guys. That's what
today.
Very good. Let me make sure. If anybody's got any questions for Melody, please shoot. I'm not, like I said, I'm not seeing any. I'm seeing the watches. My mother is watching. So
Hi,
behave.
Ma.
No.
Hi.
Yeah, she's always watching. She's precious. She lives in Gallatin. up there.
Oh, that's
And,
not too far, huh?
Not too far at all. So I'm always
Let's see if
thankful.
we have anybody on mine.
See if you got on your end. If
Hey,
you
Doug.
use
Okay,
your
we got some squirrel wings. Oh, good morning, Kelly. Oh,
And that's just
I
me.
think that's. Oh,
You're the ones
okay,
that-
we're
but,
good.
But we're, like I said, here with Melody. Melody is on the spectrum and just very successful. How many years have you been on the road? She's singer-songwriter and has performed with very well known as well.
I got divorced from my first ex-husband in 1995.
Mhm.
I wasn't allowed to play music for 10 years because he was an alcoholic.
Okay.
And so I was...
So you live what you know, huh? So
Yeah,
you find
exactly.
Mhm.
And so I felt like that's all I deserved, and I was afraid to speak my mind. I mean, I used to write myself notes to keep my mouth shut, and it was very severe emotional state that I was in. And then I heard this song called He Thinks He'll Keep Her.
Oh, I love that.
And
Mary Chapin Carpenter.
yes, and then it was my
Yeah.
birthday weekend, and I said, I think I need to get a job. and I'm like, I need to stop this. This has got to stop, because he was
kind of break free of it.
Yeah. So not being able to play music for 10 years in front of your partner at all. So I'd have to sneak to play music with my neighbor Donna.
Okay. So.
And she's like, "You're so good. You're so good. You should sing." And I'm like, "Oh, I can't do that again." But I sang from when I was 9 to when I was kidnapped when I was 19, and then I sang a little bit after that, and then I just had gotten married because I thought that was what you're supposed
kind of
to
be
do.
Safe, maybe.
Right, to get away from my parents.
Your dad was a performer as well, right? So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
He's a performer.
So
and
it's in the blood.
It definitely is. And I feel very proud of myself, because despite my severe social anxiety, when I started playing again, I would get so sick, like violently ill. The amount of adrenaline pumping through my body and cortisol was like, I probably could have had a heart attack.
You want to do it, but it's just,
Yeah, because it was who I was, but then I had all these, like, elephant boundaries, it's like, oh, you can't, So, the elephant with the chain, when they take the chain off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still can't go anywhere.
Yeah, you just feel like you can't go.
Mm-hmm.
But I've within the first year of starting to play again, I had my picture in the paper that my friend took 7 times, and I was in the newspaper every weekend playing somewhere.
So you get a lot of it.
And I got focused on what can I do? How do I do this? What do I do? And I've had people help me with booking and putting the pieces together.
Mm-hmm.
And I never thought I would get out of my first marriage, that's for sure. But then my second marriage, my ex-husband thought I was so talented that he'd be hanging out with Jimmy Buffett and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he really believed in me.
He was on the wings, kind of the cocktail thing, maybe.
But see, I don't drink alcohol. I don't.
Okay.
I drink coffee.
Okay.
I don't drink or smoke or do anything to alter my state.
That makes sense, because that way you can stay clear.
But I do need the ADD medication to get me off the floor sometimes. Like you know what it's like, being in that circle of, where am I going to find the...
Well, just that's staying on track, staying on the calendar, knowing what's next, keeping an even keel.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, and in the music life, it's not a...
there is no
schedule.
No, and there's no 1, 2, 3, 4 things to do. Right. It's all cast a wide net all the time, and it's all going in separate directions. So I'm driving across the country, sitting in truck stops, in my van. I never get out of my van. I'll get gas, but I don't like going in crowded places, especially on the road. Mm-hmm. I spend hours, days by myself when I'm traveling, and the exciting part is, like, I will wait out in front of a club for hours until it's time. I don't care how hot it is.
Because you don't, like I said, just kind of maybe the fear of being on your own traveling, or just
knowing that the feeling the social anxiety and the fear of going outside of my van in a place that I'm not familiar with. Okay. But then I can go into a club.
Like you said, your cocoon, right?
Yeah, exactly. But then I can go into a club and go, "Hey, I'm Melody Guy. How's it going?" And I'm totally chill.
Because then you're on.
Yeah, then I'm doing my thing, and people don't understand that disconnect of how could it be this way on stage or with music people, where people know you for what you do, or just being a person who doesn't have an identity. When I just go in and I have to just
make small talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've always said it's easier to sit on a stage and sing in front of, I don't know, thousands, and because you've got a plan, you know what you're going to do, you kind of know what you're going to say, and you got a plan. But to go one-on-one with someone,
sometimes
that you
can
don't
be
know is even more daunting.
Yeah, and it depends on what the one-on-one conversation is about as well.
Exactly. If it's your subject, you're
Yeah, like Robert, he has taught himself how to do what do you call that? Animation.
Yeah, that's very
computer
cool.
animation, and he got a scholarship to go to Epicodus in Portland, and they have a web development school, and they have a program for autistic kids.
Okay.
And so he is doing that, and a normal program is 6 months, and for the autistic kids, it's taking longer, of course.
Okay. So they're sort of letting him do it at his pace. So
yeah,
he's
his
really
own
getting
pace.
into this and enjoying
Yeah.
it.
So it is very expensive.
Well, duh. Yeah, that's what. That's right.
Yeah. So
it's like you want them to succeed. You want them to be able to find.
I want him to live his dream, and this is his dream: is to get a job doing what he loves, because he focuses on it all the time anyway.
There you go.
And he's like, I want to be able to have a life, and make money doing this. I know I can do it, Mom. I know I can do it. And so I'm like, when he found out that he got the scholarship, I was at Backstage Nashville.
Okay.
And, Cherie Austin had actually recorded Mistakes Like Me, and she did a great version of it. She sang it at the Grand Ole Opry one time, and a MySpace friend had told me that she sang it. And I thought that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sang it at the Ryman and got a standing ovation. And that was like a big deal because Robert, he saw the effect of what the song did because everybody was crying and he was taking bows and it was...
and things happen, and when you can use it in a positive way to help people understand.
Yes.
Just create that's huge.
And that's my mission in life, is to make people feel not so alone on this planet. Because my whole growing up, my whole life, I felt like a mistake. And that's how I could come up with the title like that.
You felt the isolation.
I felt the isolation. I was very isolated. I still tend to isolate myself. Because like going into crowded clubs where you're not playing,
you just shut down.
You
can
just
be in the crowd and
hyper
still be
aware,
alone.
because you have to be hyper aware, and you just feel and see, and and but as I've gotten older, I've learned how to hide my crazy till I get home, or get into my van,
right.
And then I can go flat on the floor in my van and under a blanket, and I'm fine.
Just kind of get that.
Yeah.
Second.
I find it very charming how I am.
But thank you so much. Like I said, the time goes so quick, and I appreciate you. Yeah, we're just about to be, but I want you to do the Dry the Rivers.
Okay.
And kind of maybe where you were at that point, reading it, and then we may go over a minute or two, guys. But I just wanted to tell you that. And this, I want you to follow Melody on her Facebook and catch her adventures. You'll find out more about her son and what he's up to, and she's looking for ways to help him get to his goals. So
we have
just want to thank her for coming today.
Fundraiser on Robert's page where he does updates as well, and he's just amazing. He's got a great heart. Yeah.
Well, I wish him and you all the best. Love
Thank
you.
you.
And thank you for coming out. I appreciate it.
Let's see if I can get through this one.
I'll get more water.
Oh, thank you.
You sing. I will fetch.
So this song I wrote about winter depression. I was living in my first apartment. My house was being rented out after one of my divorces. I don't know. Right, Tammy?
Which one?
Yeah.
Number who?
Number 5? No, number 3.
Okay.
You didn't really count anyway.
Okay. Well, then we won't give him a number.
I've got monsters creeping in. I hear voices speaking sin. I feel the darkness settling under my skin. But I only see the light of day. Dry the rivers from my eyes. Dry the rivers from my eyes. Dry the rivers from my
Beautiful.
That's the short version.
That's short version. And that's on your latest album.
Yeah, it's on my latest album. My daughter Delaney is singing harmony with me.
Yeah, and I did the little stalker Facebook thing.
Oh, I stalked yours.
Okay, well, good. Then we're even. Okay. And I watched you and Delaney sing
Oh.
together. Beautiful, beautiful harmony.
I love her.
Well, she's a doll, and I loved hearing it. So if y'all want to stalk her page,
Stalk
or
her
follow her,
page.
you can do that.
Be my
But,
friend.
and Darlene is here, another
Hi,
friend of mine.
Darlene.
She is a mom. Her son
Hi.
Logan sings. He was the young man who was at the Bluebird.
Oh
last
yes,
week.
Logan, right?
Yeah, Logan. So
Oh,
Logan's
he was
mom is here.
amazing.
And, yeah,
I so enjoyed that.
he is a keeper.
Yes, he is. He really is. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, and we're on the 10 o'clock, but Melody and I both will be on the round with Les Kerr on May 2nd at the Millennium Maxwell Hotel.
Uh-huh.
And I know you're probably out and about all over in between, right? So she'll be.
Well, I have a
knows
visitor
where.
this week.
Oh, that's
so.
right. Well, okay, so never mind. That's right. She has
Maybe.
a dear one coming into town, so we'll hope you have a wonderful rest time.
Yes.
Kind of take a break, but I'll see you on May 2nd again. Then.
Yes, I'm so excited.
And any questions? If you're catching this later and you come in, if you didn't get to ask them today and you come back, I will even forward stuff to Melody if there's anything you'd like to know. I hope you'll follow her, support her music, because it's not easy doing what she's doing. And best to go to your page to your website to get your music, correct?
Yes.
Go that direction, she'll make a little more.
Yes, exactly. I've got a bunch of albums on there. Mistakes Like Me is on there. The new record is on there as well. And I have 2 videos.
Yeah, I love the video.
Dry the
one you
Rivers?
just did.
Oh.
Really beautiful.
Thank you. It's dark and
It is
light.
dark, but
It's everything, I think.
Well done, but well done with the music, and just thank you again for
Yay,
making the trip up here. I
thank you for
appreciate
having me.
Yeah, and we'll
it's
have
great to be had.
Yes, there you go. And we'll have to do this again. Maybe we'll crossroads again when she's up this way, and we'll do a little
you can
more
come down
music
to my
and enjoy it.
house.
There we go. I'll do that. That's my turn to take the run.
Yeah, come on down. We'll write a song and
There you go.
everything.
I love that idea. We'll definitely do it. Take care, guys. Love y'all. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
And we will see you. I tell you what I want to talk about next week. I do have other interviews coming up. If I don't have an interview scheduled, we're going to talk about guilt. Mom guilt. When you're not.
Oh, wow.
When you're doing all you can and you think you ought to be doing more. So I want to talk about that because I think we all get there. So
let's talk about it now.
Bring it. Bring it on. If you're watching, I can take it. But you get it, right? It's
I
you
totally
can't
get it. You can't ever do enough.
No, you love them and you just, when you're not doing it, you feel like you ought to be doing something, but you're just not quite sure what that is.
Exactly.
And so, sometimes we just don't think to breathe ourselves or take care of ourselves. I just salute Melody for chasing her dreams in the middle of all of it too, because we have to keep going.
And I this is pretty interesting about the music business is that everybody is in a business and everybody is advertising for business. And sometimes when an artist like myself promotes themselves, they're like, oh, it's like you're begging for people to buy your record and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, what do you think Beyonce's doing, man?
Just on a different level. So,
And
it is your wares. It is your product. Yeah.
Yeah, and to book a house concert, it's like, there's nobody like me. There's nobody like Ashley McBride. There's nobody else like, Little Big Town, or they're all wanting you to buy their albums. We're all just like the dentist wants to go clean your teeth and do your stuff.
And if they don't, you don't stay in business.
That's right.
So
Everybody's in the president and all those other people. They are wanting you to be fans, and I'm a fan of anybody who loves music because we need. Don't we?
Yeah, we do.
We need the supporters.
I always tell everybody knows it's my therapy, so
it's a win-win situation, Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say bye now. Thanks, guys, for listening. We appreciate you, and we'll have Melody back again sometime. Take care. Let me find the finish button. Here we go.